We're back on Fantasy Insider. Rick Hamlin and Dennis Scott for the final time this season. It is a Kleenex affair here in Atlanta, Georgia. And the Magic men are the top players in fantasy basketball. The stats that we go by are points, rebounds, assists, blocks, steals, field goal percentage, free throw percentage, and threes made.
Got to make them.
Got to make them. It's not the percentage.
You got to make them.
The Steve Kerrs with the highest percentage of all time, we're not dealing with percentages. You got to make them. I don't care if you're making 20% as long as you make 2 or 3 a game. So let's get into the top 20 right here, starting with Carlos Boozer of the Utah Jazz. You will also see on this list Pau Gasol. I mean, Boozer, contract year for him. He came to play, baby.
Well, him and Amari Stoudemire, I think, realized that regardless of what uniform you have on, you have to bring it every night.
And he has. He's almost a 2010 player this year. We'll have more on Pau in a moment. Chauncey Billups just keeps on rolling. He's like the quietest top 20 fantasy player going right now. All he does is dime, hit threes. I think he's averaging a career high in points this year. We'll have more on Nash in a minute. And Darren Williams, what can you say? 2010 every game.
I'm just happy that the basketball guys got it right. He made the All-Star team this year.
Yes, sir. And he's been playing hurt all year. We've been noticing Darren. All right, let's talk more about Pau Gasol. Missed a ton of time early in the season with the hamstring injuries. But, Dennis, and I have a hard time with people using the S word in reference to this guy right here. You cannot be SOFT
right
and average over 11 rebounds and average close to 2 blocks per game. And you cannot be SOFT if you're the number 2 guy in an NBA championship team. And if you lead your country, Spain, to world championships and Eurobasket championships. You can't be soft with that going on.
Let's just change the S word to smooth. And I think that's what's throwing a lot of you off when a guy's 6'11", 7 foot, so smooth around the basket, left hand, right hand, blocking shots, and never complains, never yells at the referee, never gets technical fouls. Not soft, Rick. That's called smooth.
I agree, and I think the fact he's such a nice guy, people get tripped and twisted on that, and they think he's not soft. Let's move on to Steve Nash. We know he's not soft. All he did at, 48 years old was have another spine-tingling season. I would guess in the top 10 of MVP voting, not top 5.
They said he's not fast.
Top 10.
They said he's too slow. They said he can't guard this person. But you look at his resume, and they don't lie. The numbers don't lie.
So Steve Nash this year comes in at number 17 across 8 categories in fantasy basketball. Now we move on to 15 through 11. Let's take a look at this chart right now. You're going to see the impressive rookie Stephen Curry. That's right. This isn't like 15th for the second half, or this isn't, 15th when Don Nelson actually played him. This is 15 for the whole season. Okay, Chris Bosh comes in at number 14. Monte Ellis comes in at 13, 25-plus per game, tons of steals, unbelievable year. The Mellow Man has been dropping. He was a top 10 guy all year. Now he's dropped to 12.
Well, I think early in the year he was going for that MVP type thing, and then he had a couple injuries slow things down. And I think now he's concentrating on the playoffs.
Yeah, and you've got Joe Wallace coming in at 11. More on Carmelo Anthony right here. In November, when he was leading the league in scoring by a mile, and the Nuggets were off and rolling, he was the MVP through the month of November.
Hands down, October, November, and the first part of December, I think everyone was calling him. I think that's when the whole bully ball started, because he was taking people in the post like he's doing these highlights and just dropping them off, and then a couple knick-knack injuries slowed him down a little bit.
Exactly. I mean, it's still an unbelievable season for Melo. We're not hating. We're just talking about it kind of dropped a little bit in the second half. But Stephen Curry, look at these numbers, man. Almost 17 per, almost 6 dimes. And that's the stat of all right there for him. The steals. He was like 2.1 in his career at Davidson, 1.8 in his rookie year.
And we should give a stat for poise. I know we don't do that in fantasy, but most young guys come into the NBA, don't play right away, and you're used to playing. And Don Nelson's system kept his poise, kept his character under control, and now he's showing he's a baller.
Do you remember at the beginning of the year when they were talking about the Phoenix Golden State trade where Amari may go to Oakland and Stephen Curry might have gone to Phoenix, and the rumors, the reports were that Golden State did not want to do that deal because of that guy.
Just conversation.
Because of that guy,
They
Stephen
wasn't going
Curry.
to make that move. That was just conversation.
GSW loves him. He loves being there, and the stats are proving it. So we've gone 20 through 11. We come back with 10 through 1. We'll talk about the Big Dipper, the Big Ticket, the Stockton Star, the Jordanaire, and the Legend. Who gets those awards? David Lee will be among them. Yeah, David Lee. You know KD's going to be there. And who else?
Right back.